Yo, what's up? My name's Petrowski MTG, and I think Mystery Box 2 is a massively underrated set, and these cards have insane potential to rise in price. There's also a lot of really beautiful, pretty, foil, rare, expensive cards that are actually available for pretty reasonable prices, if not underpriced and cheap. Let's go ahead and go talk about it and get into it. First things first, let's talk about what is Mystery Booster 2. It was a weird set that was only available to purchase at conventions. You had to go to convention to get it or order it online. It was really, really strange and ordered directly from Wizards. And there's a lot of things that are weird about a comparison to, especially like modern day Magic. First things first, foils. There is only one foil on average per box. That drastically increases the rarity. This is the OG rarity of Magic the Gathering foils. If you aren't familiar, back in the day, old sets used to be one foil per box on average. I kind of miss it. It's a cool feeling. It adds rarity and adds this beauty and mystique to these foils and actually makes them hold value and feel what they're supposed to feel, which is special in foil. If everybody's super, nobody's super kind of thing. So one foil per box is back in this set, as well as a really weird breakdown, as you can see, of like the cards available. You get 10 commons or uncommons, 2 cards of each color specifically, 1 multicolored card or artifact of any rarity, could be a common or an uncommon land, 1 rare or 1 mythic rare, 1 future sight frame card, which was a lot of what we're looking at today, 1 future sight like special framed card, which is the card that originally premiered in the set, Future Sight, which was meant to like look at, oh, look how Magic could look, or look at all this weird wacky stuff that could happen, kind of predict the future sort of thing. As you can see, there's a 60% chance for a rare or a mythic rare to be in that slot, and then a less than 5% of future frame cards appear in traditional foil, and there's also 1 white border card per pack. So let's go ahead and jump into what are some Mystery Booster 2 cards that I think are super underrated. These cards are playable in Legacy, Vintage, and Commander a lot of the time. Obviously, not all of them. Some are banned or are not as good in other formats. But we're starting off on a strong, but I'm going to show you guys the foil prices and then the non-foil prices. If you're not a foil person, I understand. Some of my videos are more geared towards foil people, but if you're not a foil person, don't worry. We're going to show both prices here so you can see the kind of the jump as well. If you want to go for the more budget option, that still looks really pretty with the art. I also love that, and we'll get to the cards in a sec, but look at this Goblin Lackey. I love the art, how it's zoomed in. These future sight frames zoom in on the art, and you get a clearer picture. Some of my cards that I love look way better in these future sight frames, in my personal opinion, because of that zoomed in, more detailed art. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. But one last thing before we do, if you find today's video helpful, enjoyable, you learn one card that you're interested about, you want to get, etc., make sure to subscribe. It is the best way to support the channel. I'm really trying to hit 1,000 subs before the end of 2025. That is a massive goal of mine. Thanks for watching. All right, Goblin Lackey, 1 red for a creature goblin, the classic goblin, a 1/1 for a 1. That's terrible. Why would you ever play that? Well, whenever he deals damage to a player, you may put a goblin permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you want the biggest, dumbest goblin, your Muxus, your siege, siege gang commando, like the biggest, dumbest goblins possible, you just throw them into play for free. Goblin Lackey is played in Legacy Goblins, at least for most versions of it. It's played in Commander Goblins, like any Goblin deck. Goblin Lackey is usually one of the first inclusions. For a foil copy in the Future Sight, look at this, going down in prices. People are sleeping on it. It's currently around $21, 22, let's be honest, 21, 22 bucks for a foil. You can get a non-foil print for $7 bucks. Wow. $7 there for the non-foil. All right, that is Goblin Lackey. That is card number 1. Collected Company. This card in totality is at the cheapest it's been, I think, ever. Since Dragons of Tarkir was printed and initially unveiled this card, Coco is cheaper than it's ever been. And because of that, all Coco prices are down. It's a good time to pick up Coco. Kind of a specific card for very specific decks that are built around abusing this card. Let's read it. 3 and a green for an instant, which is really important. You can play it at instant speed, play it during combat, and plop a bunch of creatures in front of your opponent. You look at the top 6 cards of your library, you put up to 2 creature cards with CMC 3 or less onto the battlefield. So you get insane. You're paying ideally 4 mana for 6 mana of creatures. That's like the ideal Coco, and if you build your deck properly, you do this every single time. You get the zoomed in, beautiful Collected Company art in foil for $13, 13, 14, let's say 14, let's round it up, $14, but after tax, right? $14 right now on TCG Player. The non-foil is going for $1, $2. Let's say $2 if you want to do that, but I would go for the foil. I think it's worth it personally. Next up, Mana Flare, a fun card. This is a commander card. Whenever a player taps a land for a mana, that player adds 1 mana of any type that land produced. This affects your opponents. This affects everybody. Everybody gets this buff. It's a fun. They want to speed up commander games, make things chaotic, make things fun. $5 for this. Let's like $6 or $7 for a foil Future Sight Mana Flare. What a deal, man. If you want the non-foil, I bet it's under $1. Yeah, it's pennies. It's pennies. It's or a gumball, right? Honestly, gumball might be like 50 cents nowadays. Fuck, man, inflation. It's like 50 cents or less for a non-foil Mana Flare. $6-7 for a foil. Great, cool card to pick up. Only 1 foil per booster box, once again. Cunning Wish. Now, this is not really a commander playable card. I think it's a fun one if you can get your play group or your friend group to turn 0. Like, hey, I'm playing Cunning. I'm playing some Wish cards. I do have a sideboard set up for commander. A lot of people don't play sideboard in commander, understandably. It's a fun format. You know, you don't always want to have that structured, right? But if you want to, you can. But really, it's like a legacy card, an eternal format card. Cunning Wish. I also love this art with a weird octopus type creature. Instant, a 2 and a blue for a 3-mana blue instant. You may reveal an instant card you own from outside of the game and put it into your hand. It's a way to tutor for a specific card. This is played in certain combo decks like High Tide Reset, etc., etc. Mostly just High Tide. You can get a copy of this for, let's be honest, the realistic price is not actually $8 because it's with shipping, $5 shipping. Honestly, this is like a $13 foil if we're being honest with our prices. $13 foil or $1 or less than $1, 50 cents for the non-foil Future Sight copy. Next up, this is a funny commander card that I've never seen this card before. Actually, this is a new card for me personally. Prior to looking through the Mystery Booster 2 set, so this was a cool one to learn about. 2 and a white. Non-white creatures with power 3 or greater don't untap during their controller's untap step. We see a lot of cards in white that make it so, okay, any creature over 2 or 3 power doesn't untap. I've never really seen a non-white creatures. That's so interesting. So you can even be mono white and have creatures higher power, you know, powerful white creatures, and you're fine. This is a one-sided keep everybody else tapped down for 3 mana on an enchantment. This card seems sick in the right decks, and it's only $9, $10, maybe pushing 12. For a copy in foil, that seems amazing. And once again, you notice a lot of these cards. Look at the quantity. There's only 60. I know 60 may seem like a lot, but it's really not when it comes to a Magic card available on TCG Player. This is very, very, very few copies of the card. Let's switch back to non-foil and see. There's a lot more non-foil, to be fair, 231, but only 60 foils. Non-foil will only fetch you a price of like $1. So also a really cheap non-foil pickup if you'd like that for your mono white commander decks. Next up, a classic like Magic the Gathering. There's literally archetypes named after this card. So it's cool. It's not the most playable card, to be honest with you guys, in modern day Magic. Look at this art though. This like weird abstract black cat clawing this guy on his shoulder. Really cool art. Pox. It's 3 black mana. Each player loses a third of their life for a sorcery. Each player loses a third of their life, then discards a third of the cards in their hand, then sacrifices a third of the creatures they control, and then sacrifices a third of the lands they control. Not generally the most powerful way to do this style of effect, but probably a really fun commander card, and you could definitely abuse this if you build a deck properly around it. You can get a foil copy of this right now, an iconic card that represents an archetype of Magic decks for around under $20, 18, $19 for a foil copy. I bet you a non-foil is going to be about $1. Yep, non-foil is going to be about $1. There you go. Pick up a copy of Pox. Next up, another iconic Magic card, arguably the best discard spell in all of Magic the Gathering, Mind Twist in a Future Sight border as well as foil. So $19. Yeah, $19 for Mind Twist, 1 black and X. Target player discards X cards at random. You could pay 6 mana or 7 mana, obviously a lot of mana, 7 mana into this, target player discards their hand, right? I think it's really powerful in Commander. The problem with this card is that it's not really legal most places. It's only really legal like in Commander and Vintage. It's banned in Legacy. It's been too good in Legacy in the past. It could get unbanned in Legacy, and it's been discussed by a lot of high-level players. I can speak from that. A lot of people do kind of want an unbanned in Legacy. So if this card gets unbanned in Legacy, Picking up a copy now, not so shabby. I do like the original art, I think, on the original card more than this one. Go Google that, the original Mind Twist art. Oh, it's fucking so good. But this one's cool. I could see arguments for preferring this one, so it's up to you. But I bet you a non-foil is a few bucks. Yeah, non-foil is about $1. Foil is about 19. Next up, so many. I didn't realize how many cards I'm actually showing you guys that are literally named. Like, there's so many archetypes named after these cards. Whatever. Smokestack, dude. Smokestack. Ever heard the term stacks? That's because of this card, okay? Which not everybody loves to play against, understandably. It's like a $14, $15 foil for a future sight, zoomed in, beautiful art of the smokestacks. I love the artifact future sight border specifically, this like really cool silver. 14, 15 bucks for a 4-mana artifact that says at the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a soot counter on Smokestack. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a permanent for each soot counter on Smokestack. Eventually, you can sacrifice your own Smokestack if you want to. Eventually, you'll probably end up doing that. It's also, you know, permanent, not non-land permanent. So people start sacking their lands with this. It's a menacing card. A lot of people don't like seeing it, but dude, it's the classic. It's a foil. Classic card in Magic. The fact that you can own this for 14 bucks is crazy to me. It's a really, really beautiful classic card. All right, next up, similar to that earlier white card, keeping, you know, creatures tapped down, regardless of color. Meekstone, 1 mana for this artifact. Creatures with power 3 or greater don't untap. Dude, for 1 mana, if you build your deck around this, this is the most powerful card in certain decks. If you build your deck around this, you know. It's Meekstone. It's nothing else really does what it does in this way. There are similar cards, but nothing else does it for 1 mana, right? It's like 16, 17, 18 bucks for a foil copy. I love this zoomed in art. I think this is probably my favorite copy of Meekstone. But there's a lot of different versions, so it's kind of close, but this is a really beautiful one. And then a non-foil is like 5 bucks. Non-foil, zoomed in, beautiful artwork, 5 bucks. Next up, a card that a lot of Commander players, people love to take extra turns. It's not always the most fun thing in the world. I don't love building extra turn decks, but for me, I guess that's the most boring thing, I guess, versus a lot of the other things. I'd rather play against stacks than extra turns, but more power to you. I'm not really miffed by most archetypes in Magic the Gathering. It is what it is, you know, it's part of the game. Temporal Manipulation, 3 and 2 blue, 5 mana sorcery, take an extra turn. It's a classic take an extra turn. It's important though. This is a take an extra turn spell that does not exile itself on cast. That's relevant because you can recast it, you can get it back in your deck, you can, you know, flash it back, you can use the Jace Vryn's Prodigy or whatever, or Snapcaster Mage, or do silly things to get this card back if you would like to. So you can loop Temporal Manipulation with certain combos. It's a combo card. It's like infinite turns in that way. It is $15, $14 for a foil. Non-foil gonna fetch you about $5 to $6 at the moment. That is Temporal Manipulation. Next up, kind of a lot of Magic Zoomers might not know this card. If you are a Legacy player, you know this card from a good old deck called Enchantress. Not really in the metagame. Hasn't been in the metagame for a very long time. Sadly, love the deck. Mirari's, I always like Mirari's Guile, but it's really Mirri's Guile. Mirri's Guile. 1 green, really cheap cost, enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may look at the top 3 cards of your library and put them back in any order. Not the most powerful effect in the world, but that at every upkeep of every turn for the rest of the game, so, like, you know, filtering through your deck like that. If you could do that and then fetch and shuffle, and you can do a lot of deck manipulation in green. This card is fantastic because green doesn't get a whole lot of things like this. Also, this card's been historically expensive it's been like a $30 card a lot of times in Magic the Gathering. You can get this copy in foil in the future sight border, 1 foil per entire booster box, once again for 27, 28, 30 bucks. This is just what this card has costed for a very long time, but right now it's kind of cheap, man. It's $8, $9 for some non-foil Mirri's Guiles. Excuse me. Really cool. I also love this art. It's really pretty and beautiful, and like this person like chasing this like animal for what? Just being an animal. What's going on there? You know. Hannah was astounded. Mirri read every leaf and wisp of breeze like a book of ancient love. Do I know what that means? No, I'm not smart enough, but it's a cool card. Okay. Next up. Goblin King info. Look at this fucking art. I get hyped up when I fucking see this. This is fucking mischievous. Me when I see a sweet treat, bro. Me when I see a 0-calorie white monster, bro. Like this mischievous ass smile with the skulls on his side. Also got this big fucking belly. You know, he's drinking fucking Busch Light at night. Dude, this guy, I love this art. God, I love this Goblin King. 1 and 2 red for a goblin creature. Other goblins you control get +1/+1 in Mountain Walk. Also, give me all the Land Walk. They're not the best effects, but man, are they fun. Bring back Land Walk in Commander. Oh, it's so fun. $20 for a classic goblin in foil with one of the coolest arts in Magic, dude. This big ass crown with the uneven spikes. Everything about this art is fucking hard as shit. It's so good. Check this out. $20 for this. What's the non-foil? Let's go to the non-foil cost. $5 for the non-foil. No, $3. Scroll down, boys. $3 for the non-foil. Next up, this is a fun commander card. Norwood Priestess. 2 and 2 green for a 1/1. So really badly statted creature for the cost, but it's an elf druids. You get elf benefits of reduction costs or combos or synergies with that, as well as you could tap it, put a green creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Activate only during your turn before attackers are declared. Plop a Crater Hoof down for free. Plop a, what's the fucking, why am I forgetting? I always draw a blank when I'm recording. There's so many big dumb creatures. Throw any big dumb green creature onto the battlefield and boom, you're cooking, okay? It's $17 for a foil of this. $1. How is this $2 for a non-foil Future Sight? Beautiful card. Cool, fun, pretty powerful effect. A little slower in modern day Commander, but still, like, you're gonna crush at casual tables with this card. Really fun card. I think it's very balanced. Very fair in Commander nowadays. You have to have the green creature card in hand. You know, I get it. You could tutor for it in a lot of ways. A lot of green tutors right now. So really cool card. Check out Norwood Priestess. Next up, Greater Good. One of the best draw engines in green to ever be printed. Green. It can ramp, it can play powerful creatures, it can, do combat, it can manipulate the top of your deck with Mirri's Guile, because why the fuck not? Let's also just give it some of the best card draw in the entire game. Why not? Surely green needs the help, right, guys? Greater Good, 2 and 2 green for an enchantment. Sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power, then discard 3 cards. Yeah, you gotta discard 3 cards, but you're probably gaining more mana or probably more cards in the process. Maybe you're mana ramping. Maybe you wanted to sacrifice that creature for other effects of like Smothering Abominations, or you're drawing cards off the sacrifice triggers, or getting draining gains or benefits. This card is not only like, it's good in aristocrats style of decks because you're sacrificing. It's a sack outlet. It's also just good in big dumb creature decks. Like, Greater Good is just fantastic. $20. Not my favorite art of this card, to be honest with you guys, but still a really pretty art. These little flowers blooming, dude, is really growing off the person. Really beautiful. $20 for this copy. Beautiful card. Non-foil. It's like, what, a few bucks? Yeah, $3 for a foil. For a non-foil, we take those. Now, is a personal favorite. This is a not everybody wants to play this card, I understand. Pretty niche legacy archetype. I think this card is fun as hell in Commander. I encourage you guys, play more Standstill in Commander. This card is so fun. 1 in a blue for an enchantment. Whenever a player casts a spell, sacrifice Standstill. If you do, each of that player's opponents draws 3 cards. This is a stall card. Nobody wants to break. When you play this, nobody wants to pop it. It's either nobody wants to pop it and break it, and you just sit there playing land drops and passing turn for like 3 turn cycles, or the first person's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna pop it, and they just go, if you're a control deck, a stally deck, you want to go any long game deck, play this. It's fun. Try it out. It's fun. It's a really fun political card, and it's a pretty powerful card. It's shockingly powerful. 2 mana draw 3 is just really, really good. The only downside as Commander is like everybody's drawing 3 cards except for the one who popped it, but that's what makes it fun, in my opinion. I think it's worth it. So check it out. Maybe you're playing some like Fevered Visions deck where like the more cards in your opponent's hand. Maybe you're playing like Nekuzar, or playing some like deck that hurts your opponent for drawing cards. That's where Standstill gets really fucking insane in Commander. Now you turn the downside into a positive. Now we're cooking, right? $15-16 for a foil copy of this card. Non-foil is going to be really like a few bucks, $2-3. Yeah, $2-3 for a non-foil copy. All right, we're almost there, fellas. Thanks for watching all the way through. Next up, this is a very specific card, but a very powerful card that enables certain strategies in Legacy. There's a whole deck, High Tide Reset, around this. One of the hardest decks to pilot, in my opinion, in all of Magic the Gathering. High Tide Reset. Now read this card very carefully before you go and buy this one. This card is really not for many people, to be honest with you. It's 2 blue, only 2 blue for Reset. Instant card. Cast this spell only during an opponent's turn after their upkeep. You have to cast this spell on your opponent's turn. But if you do, you can untap all lands you control. I could see someone playing this in a control commander deck, and basically usually it's played on the combo where like you're comboing off on your opponent's turn and drawing multiple resets in Legacy. Once again, 12, 13 bucks for this. I could see an argument for this in Commander. Let's say you leave 2 blue mana up in Commander. Let's say you have your control deck in Commander. You have 2 or 3 counter spells in your hand, but you only leave 2 blue mana up. You pass to your opponent's turn, and they are, so let's say you're like a smart friend group, right? Okay, your friend group actually does play around counter spells. They see that you have 2 blue mana up, like, okay, he probably has counter spell. I'm gonna hold my stuff, wait until I have protection, wait until I have a response to his 1 counter spell, and then go off and win the game, right? Instead, they cast their bait spell, you cast reset. Now you can counter that bait spell and then also counter the next spell and have multiple resources available to you it's the surprise factor that really factors into Commander with reset. Maybe there are certain commanders or decks that really want to do stuff on opponents' upkeeps or opponents' turns. I'm not as familiar, but this card is really a legacy. It's a combo card. It's a really, really cool, unique card. Nothing else is doing this effect for that cheap for 2 mana. It's a really classic Magic the Gathering card. Next up, once again, this is kind of a vintage only. We're into like the eternal, super eternal formats, vintage stuff, legacy. This is a vintage, really only card. You could play this in Commander. It would be a lot of fun. It is legal in Commander. This is Oath of Druids. You could get a copy of this for 25 bucks, which is kind of up there, but it's one of the most classic vintage decks in all of Magic the Gathering. It's 1 and a green for an enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player chooses target player who controls more creatures than they do and is their opponent. The first player may reveal cards from the top of their library until they reveal a creature card. If the first player does, then that player puts that card onto the battlefield and all other creatures revealed into their graveyard. I always forget that they go into the graveyard. That is crazy. You're filling your graveyard with this. So it's a lot of words. The way this works is you want to play very few creatures in your deck, but big fat ones. And basically what you do is you would try to play Oath of Druids on turn 2. You could even use a land like Forbidden Orchard to give your opponent, which is what you do in Vintage, give your opponent a 1/1 shitty little spirit creature. And then they control more creatures than you, technically. So what happens is they have a shitty 1/1. You activate Oath of Druids and pull out the fattest, biggest green threat in the whole game. And then boom, you're cooked in, you know? So Oath of Druids is a way to cheat in creatures consistently. It's every upkeep. It's kind of like extra, it's kind of like Reanimator on steroids almost, but like kind of the deck is totally built in a different way. But you could also use this in a Reanimator shell and the fact that it fills the graveyard and use that to like bring big threats back. So Oath of Druids probably underplayed in Commander. The problem is that every player gets the effect, so it's kind of like it's a chaotic spell in Commander. Mostly played in Vintage, banned in Legacy because it is that freaking powerful. That's Oath of Druids, 25 for the foil. And then non-foil is $5 2 or 3 bucks. Let's be 2 or 3 bucks for the non-foil. It's a mythic as well in this set. Very much worth noting, even rarer in any form, foil or non-foil. Next up, now you have to build. I don't know if I've ever seen this card in Commander. You have things like Burgeoning and Expedition you usually would rather play. But you do see this a fair bit in Legacy, and I would assume occasionally. I'm not sure. I can't speak on this card in Vintage, actually. But you definitely see this in Legacy, and I would love to see someone try to build around this in Commander. This is Manabond. 1 green enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, you reveal your hand and put all land cards onto the battlefield. If you do, discard your hand. So this is a all-in lands strategy. You got to abuse all the most busted lands and all of Magic. Your Tabernacles, your Glacial Chasms, your Strip Mines, your Wastelands. You are trying to abuse every busted thing possible to make this card work. But if you do, it can be really powerful. It's a $37, $36 foil. And then a $2 to $3 non-foil. So it's an interesting price jump on that one. And that is the final card I wanted to talk about. If you think I missed any cards, what's your favorite card in Mystery Booster 2 that I'm not the foils? I didn't cover commons and uncommons. There are things like the Soul Ring, Ponders, Brainstorms. I didn't really cover today. But if you think I missed something like as a foil or a rare, let me know in the comments. Or let me know if you think that I should have talked about the commons or uncommons. I'll probably do the commons and uncommons in a different video, I think. So if you want to see more of that, make sure to subscribe. Subscribe is the best way to support the channel. If this video was helpful to you, entertaining, enjoyable, just fun, something additive to your day, subscribe right now is the best way to support. I would love to get to 1,000 subs before the end of 2025. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and spend money on cardboard and have fun, but do it responsibly. But you know what? It's okay. You deserve it. We work really hard. A lot of us do. Let's spend a little bit. Treat yourself a little bit, King, okay? I'll see you guys later. Peace, Reno.